Let the record show. Hey man, let the record show. You know what I mean? I already told you how 2024 was gonna go, so just know. You know what I'm saying? I told you that in 2023. I was like, 2024, don't do that. That whatever you do, don't do that. It's gonna be crazy. So just know that if that's where I was at in 23, I've been prepping for 25. Hope everybody else has been too. You know what I'm saying? We have a deep diving conversation going on today. You know what I'm saying? That we want to welcome you all to join us at the table. You know what I mean? Huh? When it comes to this F.I.R.M fellowship, is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Fellowship in a righteous manner. So we invite you to come join us at the table for a conversation that just might draw you to a new perspective. It just might pull you towards a new idea. Maybe it will cause you to experience something that you can't change in a different way. Who knows? But that's what it's all about when we get together right here on the F.I.R.M podcast, whether you're on Facebook or on YouTube. We appreciate you joining us live. Those of you who tune in after the fact, make sure that you tune in after the fact. You know what I'm saying? That's all we asking. You listen, man. You good? You doing good? How you doing?
Man, life is good. Life is great, bro. Excited.
Okay.
Next show, we ready, bro. How you doing?
Hey, man. You know what I mean? Me. If I could tell it all, you know what I'm saying, must be the end, because I'd have to tell it to him face to face. You know what I'm saying? That's how good God is in my life. You know what I mean? But that's just me. Maybe you subscribe to some other, you know what I'm saying, way of living. But here at the F.I.R.M, you know what I mean, it's a righteous way of living. And if you believe in that, wherever you fit in that word, in that category, righteousness, let's meet there at the table and figure the rest out together. You know what I mean? Is that fair enough?
That's fair, bro.
All right, if that's fair enough, y'all, welcome everybody. We appreciate y'all joining us. What up, world? It's the F.I.R.M Pressure Podcast. First. What up, world? It's the F.I.R.M.
Let's get it. Welcome to the F.I.R.M.
Oh, it's about to go down.
Set your schedule. Eastern Standard Time.
Saturday nights live for a time that's one of a kind.
Woo-wee. There's nothing off the table. No trolling. We go from politics to religion to relationships to whether or not you like crunchy or soft taco.
Woo! Forget about a love language. What about your love level?
Oh man, we excited for this one.
On all social media platforms.
So make sure you follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok.
Fellowship in a righteous manner. That's the banner.
With your hosts, FLAVIUS and ULISES. We rolling Eastern Standard Time.
Welcome everybody. You know what I'm saying? Ulysses, man. Welcome the people to the show today.
Yes. Welcome. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the F.I.R.M Pressure Podcast. Every Sunday night, we are live. We are in color. We are dropping, as they say, we're dropping the bomb. We're dropping the news. We're just dropping it, y'all. Look at that. But we want to.
You can't see me. I'm in the underground.
But again, for those who are watching on Facebook, Make sure you like the page. Make sure you heart this episode, and make sure you share. Go ahead and comment live to help with the algorithm, the whole nine. For those on YouTube, at the Firm 365 is where you'll find us. At the Firm 365 is where you'll find us. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell when we go live and when we're dropping some content. You just don't know what we're going to do. And for those who are on the gram, at the Firm 365 24/7 is where you'll find us there. So again, some great news pertaining to the gram that we are now able to go live simultaneously. So
we gotta do that. We gotta set that up. When we gonna announce our official date? We gonna save this for like a New Year's celebration type thing. Or we gotta make it an occasion. You know what I'm saying? Because I be on the gram. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And everybody be like, yo, I'll be on Facebook and I don't be seeing you all on Facebook, but I be on the gram. You know what I'm saying? And TikTok, I'm feeling the pull. I just, give me a little bit more. Maybe. You know what I'm saying?
Conspiracy, you know what I mean?
But I left that on my partner so they wouldn't hack my phone. Go ahead.
What's going on? What's going on, chat? How are you guys doing this beautiful weekend? We got a few more weeks. We got 23 days officially to the end of the year.
23?
23 more days.
Is that it? Man, bro, I got so much stuff to do.
Oh, my goodness, bro.
Man, I'm so used to being like, I can't wait till the next year. Now I'm like, that's how much time I got left.
Man, if anything, this year has flown.
Man.
Like, I mean, literally, I remember yesterday was like January 1st, just like 2 days ago. And it's just
you know what I'm realizing the older I get, the older we get, is what I'm realizing is that when you're younger, you're not doing so much on purpose in a day, right? You're like, there's certain things you got to check off the block up to a certain age. Might be your early 20s, maybe like your late 20s, early 30s, but past a certain point, it's like, and maybe before that, there's certain things that's like you got to do on purpose in a day. You're like, man, I got 24 hours in a day. I got some stuff I got to do. If I don't, you know what I'm saying, I had to push that back, add that to the agenda later on in the week. When will I have time? I got to do it. The older you get, the more you kind of manicure your life on purpose.
Manicure?
Yeah. Because, you kind of mold your life on purpose. You know what you have to show up for in a 24-hour period when you get past a certain age.
Right.
Am I correct?
Sir.
And because you're doing so much on purpose, it seems like you don't have enough time. Unlike people who don't live their life on purpose that often, they feel like, man, this year is dragging. Golly, it's been a long month. Oh my God, today is dragging. They feel like time is going slow because they're thinking about all the time that they don't spend on purpose that they're not getting. Maybe that's just me. I'm sorry. Let me. You know what? Hey, everybody. That's my brain. But today we're talking about something that may grab your attention, just like that grabbed mine. Maybe it's something that is something you can't escape. You've said you're going to take a break. Somebody else said you should take a break. Maybe you've said to yourself, I'm going to focus on this, but for some reason, while you focus on this and that, something else is pulling at you. And there's this phrase that Ulysses, when you was telling me about the topic for tonight, I was like, immediately what came to mind when you was like gravitational pull, I was like tugging at your heartstrings. And it's like a phrase that romantics uh, gets romanticized in cinema, different things like that. But it's something that most people feel the expression of when they feel like somebody is pulling at them. And even with the thought of that phrase, tugging on my heartstrings, it's like if you were in compliance, if you were in full agreement, if it was all okay to go forward with whatever may be pulling you, or what could possibly, before what can pull you is the thing that you would go to naturally. So the idea of something pulling is connected with the idea of something that is uh, contradicting or contrasting, or you know what I'm saying? Like I don't have to pull my clothes on all day long. I just got to put them on and then they roll with me. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay.
it's like there's no resistance to certain things, but when something is pulling at you, sometimes people ignore the fact that there may be something that is resisting within them.
Hmm. Hmm.
Is it good to always be pulled by stuff? Should you be using discernment when it comes to being pulled by things?
For sure. I think, the idea of of when you are looking at, especially when it comes to relationships, you know, being pulled into something, depending on the scenario, but at the end of the day, um, it should be something that we should be able to have some level of wisdom in that decision making, wisdom in whether or not
Some sort of agreement, right?
yeah, for sure.
Like you can't be pulled by something that you can't pull or say, oh man, it just pulled me down unless there's some sort of agreement. I know that if I jump in a river with a block of ice or a block of ice, the chances are the ice gonna float and I'm gonna float too. I know that if I jump in there with a block of cement and try to hold on to it, I might not float to the top, and neither might the cement. You know what I'm saying? So it's like reality is something that escapes people in 2024. And if something is pulling at me that I'm cool with, there is an agreement there. If something is pulling on me that is just pulling, I should know the difference.
I mean, and there's scenarios where the pull is by surprise, right?
Mm,
You
mm,
know,
mm.
um,
You
so
don't see it coming.
you don't see it coming. Just something just pulls at you and causes you to whatever the case is.
Mm-hmm.
But you are right though. In this context, there has to be a level of agreement. Um, whether or not you or the other person's telling the truth is a whole other story.
Right.
But the pool itself has to be some form of agreement of I'm being drawn to you for whatever reason, and I want to find out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm being pulled into this relationship, and I want to know if this is the real deal, whatever the case is. I want to know if the butterflies in my stomach that's just fluttering around is real, or is there something wrong with said person.
Mm-hmm.
But the gravitational pull in itself is designed to pull you in, like same thing like with space or whatever like you see the movies, right? That
Mm-hmm.
gravitational pull from the sun, like once you get stuck in that gravitational pull, there's no coming out.
Mm.
Like you're and you see them in their spaceships and they're thrusting as hard as they can, and they got that engine revved up and everything's about to blow, and they got to come up with some level of some trickery, some whatever to kind of loop around the sun.
Yeah.
I can't remember what movie that was, but just loop around the sun and use that pull for them instead of against them. But at the end of the day, that gravitational pull is designed to suck you in
Mm-hmm.
to whatever it is that has caught your attention.
Mm.
That gravitational pull is designed to make it look like it's something safe
Mm.
when it's actually for your harm.
Mm.
That gravitational pull looks different depending on where you are, but the end result is still the same.
But the gravitational pull keeps me grounded, brother.
Huh?
Without the gravitational pull, how could I be grounded? How could I keep my feet on the ground? How could I take one step at a time in this life of mine if I ignore gravity?
Very interesting question.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very interesting question.
Because it's like, how can it be just from gravity? Gravitational pull is only for my bad. When without it, I would float off into the sky. So
True.
there's got to be some reason. There's got to be some purpose beyond good or bad or good or evil where gravitation serves a purpose because it exists either way. You can draw to yourself good things or bad things. You could launch off or walk into good things or bad things. You can make secret choices that are bad that you openly have to explain because of the bad outcome. And sometimes we try to, we all love to be like our father or like our creator. He's an author and finisher of our faith. So we all like to tell a good story.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the story, you know, depending on who's telling it, don't always give the complete visual of what has happened or what has occurred. So sometimes people try to tell a different story. And what they do is they say, I'm with her because I love her and because I'm a man of God. And as a Christian man, no matter what goes on in my household, I'm supposed to be faithful. I'm supposed to provide. I'm supposed to be, now they're saying, the shepherd and the priest of my house. So I got to pray over my family. I got to forgive my wife. I'm not perfect, but it's not a measure of perfection. I'm always going to say I'm sorry. What about when she doesn't? Okay, I got to forgive that too. Or vice versa, a woman in the house saying the same thing. I love this person. And because of the woman of virtue that I'm taught to be, I got to be waiting for my king or my prince. I got to be prepared and perfumed. I got to be a family woman because that's what Ruth was, and that's what and all these other people was, and that's what, you know what I mean. And so I got to take these qualities about these virtuous women of God, and I got to apply that to this man that's over here. Every time I frustrate him and every time I get emotional, he runs out my house and he goes to the woman that he's been talking to for months and know he could have been with for more than months. But now, because of my frustration, he's going to use this as an opportunity to justify going out and doing something to me, betraying this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we go through these different scenarios and maybe we make it out, maybe we make it through, maybe God blesses us to where we can stay together with our loved ones or we can make it beyond our loved ones. A lot of times we walk right into a situation that is just as comfortable as the last situation. And because we keep running into this cycle, it gives off the impression that this gravitational pull, what pulls me? Man, if I can't even trust myself, because if I allow what pulls me to pull me, it'll keep pulling me into a cycle. But often we have a role in choosing our tonics. One thing I'll say as a man of God, amongst men of God, is that even a man of God has his own drink. There's certain things that he will or will not drink. Take it as you will. But I've met men in the that are not men and women of God, or let me not say that. They are not people who teach, preach, and have that level of calling, but the level of existence is sonship or daughterhood the same. But either way, they'll have a certain drink that's their drink. You try to bring them something white, they won't accept it. They only drink brown. You try to bring them something brown, and y'all know what I mean, they only drink white.
Mm-hmm.
You try to drink them brown, or bring them brown or white, they only drink wine. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to my veteran soldiers out there. Some of them only drink beers. And I was the darkest kind, the foamiest kind. But anyways, a preference is an identifying factor in a person's pattern. A lot of times it's not the essence of the pool. You ought to want to be with somebody. I ought to want to be with somebody. What we allow ourselves to get pulled to often is more tied to something inside of us versus something outside of us.
Right.
And you can run into 15 toxic women out there and lose hope and lose faith and be like, all of them are all the same, not knowing that there are billions of women out there in the world. You don't have a clue. You give up too quick. You tap out too soon. You done met what, 100 women in the world? You know how many women are in the world? Women out there. You've only met the men that have lived in the area code you have walked in, let alone those of you who have met somebody online or ventured out or traveled or vacationed and you went and found somebody. There are so many people that you have not met. And I know they say, what is that? 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon or something like that. Like everybody in Hollywood somehow is tied to somebody that's tied to somebody that did something with Kevin Bacon, as far as like a movie or a role or something. But it's like the same thing they tried to do with the presidents and the, heads of state and government. It's like there's only a certain degree of separation between where you stand, and you're judging the world and your God's ability to pull you toward the right direction. Because when we talk about gravity, bro, we're talking about the way, a path, something that cannot be denied. It is by design. It's not like everything is coming down to the earth when it comes to gravity. If I'm not mistaken, scientists say that lightning starts from the ground up. There are natural things that do not or defy what we most people know as gravity. So how can the element of a thing be bad if it does not produce one thing? How can lightning come up from the earth if everything is subject to gravity being pulled to the earth? That doesn't make sense. Same way people believe one way or another. It's always absent something else. What we're being pulled, what pulls, what tugs on your heartstring is not the problem.
Or is it?
It's not. You love music, but you don't love every artist. You got your favorites. You got your top fives. That doesn't mean that because you got your top fives, you don't listen to a whole lot of other stuff. And that's how a lot of people be doing in relationships in 2024. They got their top five preferences, but at the end of the day, there's some lonely nights filled with some unfamiliar, they ain't really on the charts, but they did for the night. And then when we go through what did for the night, what was good for the radio, we meet somebody and all of a sudden we want to be music enthusiasts and talk about our favorite artists and our top five artists and how we love their music for so much, not giving an account for how much trash you listen to before you told this person about your perfect preference. And in relationships, what we do is we entertain a lot of trash. And we say that's what's pulling at us. It's toxic. It keeps on getting me. No, there's something toxic in you that doesn't mind, has nothing to do with your top five, but you don't mind listening to a little bit of and there's somebody that just heard me do that and thinks that's a real song, but I just made that up. But it's the fact that sometimes we tune into the garbage, but when we find the treasure, all of a sudden it's got to be the most perfect thing and the most perfect whatever, and it has to accept all the trash we listen to.
I mean, and what is very
if that makes sense.
What yes. But what is very interesting is when it comes to the choices that we make, and this is the question I want to pose to the chat.
Mm-hmm.
In y'all's experience, whether you experienced it yourself or seen a loved one go through it, like what keeps drawing them or you back to a similar situation? What keeps, because it's like I can look at my life, right?
Yeah.
And came out of a 23-year marriage. A lot of things went down that should not have gone down. And I spent a lot of those years just dealing with certain stuff for the sake of the marriage, for the sake of the kids, for the sake of the church, the whole nine. So I got accustomed to a certain way of living. I got accustomed to being talked to a certain type of way, right? So that marriage is over. I'm now dabbling in the dating pool, and I find I'm talking to people and all good and dandy, and then I'm finding out, bro, that these people are similar to the very thing that I tried to run from. The loose lips, the uncontrolled tongue, the below the belt shots, the take your pick. And I'm finally able to break free from one relationship, and then I go into another relationship and I'm dealing with something similar. And I'm sitting there and, bro, I'm trying to figure out, why do I keep finding similar traits in different people? What is it about me, or what is it about them that I'm attracted to? Because to your point, there's nothing wrong with being attracted to a certain person.
Right.
I mean, that's nature at its finest. But what is it about me that is pulling me into this person just to find out that they are almost similar to the very toxic things or the very bad relationships that I escaped. We see it in stories where you hear a woman that's in an abusive relationship. The man beat her. She escapes that relationship and then goes to another relationship to find out it's a different guy, different face, different name, but the same abuse. She doesn't want to. I mean, she's not purposely looking for somebody to beat on her.
Let me ask you this: how does it feel to run into that same situation? Like you said, sometimes it can be a surprise, but how does it feel to run into that like again? How does that feel?
And that's a question for the chat too. Like,
yeah, like the same person that was accusatory, accusing you of stuff you didn't do, had you defending yourself, and then run into somebody you ain't even got half the time that it took you to get to the place you went with the last person. They ain't even got half of that time, and you already there. How does that feel?
It's very frustrating. Very, very frustrating, and it's almost like man, like what, like this is the type of luck that I have, for lack of better words, right?
And do you stay there like after that?
See,
like when it finally does hit, is it like are you like, yeah, I'm done real quick and like it's the end all be all and I've seen this before and I ain't doing this ever again? Ain't no forgiveness for a person like this and like you and like her. Is it and you just cut them off, or is that maybe not your intent or your heart when you cut them off, even if it might be just as quick? Is it I'm not doing this again? What is it?
I think, and it all depends, but usually people don't show that, like, and there's that golden rule of 90 days. They usually say if you're in a relationship, give that person 90 days.
So many rules. That's why I ain't winning out here in the dating game. But it's cool because this ain't about me.
Game plan, sir.
I don't know the rules.
Many rules. That's the problem. You know what I mean?
Okay, 90 days.
90 days.
I'm hearing about this.
90 days.
Is that gonna be the same in 2025, or did the rules change?
Yeah. If you meet somebody new, don't invest yourself until after 90 days.
What if you have a hard time not being yourself? What if like that's your Achilles heel? You are yourself.
But the 90 days will reveal that, right?
Should I worry about me revealing myself within the 90 days or someone else fully revealing themselves in 90 days?
But here's the thing though, right? Because you being an honest man of integrity, you're gonna give your honest self, right?
Okay.
And she's gonna tell you to say, I'm a woman, I have no reason to lie, I'm a X, Y, just that whole spiel. So you're like, okay, cool. I mean, you have no reason to lie to me, so I'm gonna believe what you're showing me. The biggest issue is
what happens after that 90 days when something comes out and you like, yo, you waited 90 days for this?
What?
You could have told me this
after the first week.
Months ago. At least a month or two ago. We 90 days in. That's 3 months, right?
That's 3 months.
Months. You could have told me a month ago, 2 months ago.
But the feeling of being invested will cause you to give grace longer than need.
I got you. Okay. Because there's a benefit.
Right. Because and psychology.
He's a farmer, y'all. I mean psychology. Go ahead.
It teaches you this.
Yeah.
Whatever somebody shows you the first time.
Yeah.
Believe them.
That's right. The seed is the fruit. Um, so here's what I would say, because you did ask a question. And the person in the situation, why do you keep feeling like, and you did say feeling like, not just running into the same person, feeling like you running the same thing, dealing with the same thing. So here's what I would say to people, huh?
I'm gonna go to the chat right quick before we continue.
Okay.
The chat says true, but
Mm-hmm.
there are some individuals that can wait longer than the 90 days to let loose. Very true.
True.
Trust
12
me,
months,
we
ladies. This
need
is your warning live 12 months. You better believe me at month 13. No,
trust me, we need to add another 30 days to that in 2025. Yeah, for sure.
13.
3 to 6 months for sure, right? 3 to 6 months for sure.
Okay.
And the chat goes on to say that she needs us to clarify a little more. What is it, Annie, that you need us to clarify?
Right. Let us know in the chat what you want us to clarify. We will clarify. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. But go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying, I don't even want to get into it before we clarify whatever we need to clarify. So, you know what I'm saying? We live right now. You know what I mean?
Wow. Why would we from Anna to Anna
to throw that in there.
Ask for the clarification.
Hey, man, if a white man and a black man can't practice an accent publicly, then you can't either, just because you Latin, brother. You know what I'm saying? How would she feel if I hit her with the
Anna?
Yeah, you gotta hit her with the American
Anna Maria Carrero
until she corrects us. You know what I mean? Together,
right.
It's a partnership.
Right.
But
we love you, Anna. We love you. We love you.
Love you. Let us know what we can clarify. One thing that I can clarify, or that is clear, seems like to everybody in the chat, is that a person varies individually. So just like somebody can reveal themselves day one, just like the chat said, you might have to give them more than 90 days. Like our host said, 90 days at the least, you know what I'm saying? At the minimum. You know what I mean? You wet behind the ears if you're going more than, you know what I'm saying? If it ain't at least 90 days. You know what I'm saying? Triple OG said that. So, you know what I mean? He from Texas. Don't y'all forget. But I would say that look at the reality, and sometimes that's so hard for a person who first day at college, the dream was to finish and be a psychologist. And whether you finish that race or not, that's day one of college. This is what I want to be. I want to help people kind of work through certain things. I want to be this type of individual. People change, human development, growth, mentally, physically, culturally, all these things combined in one, and being able to understand that so that I can help a person find their center, find a place where they can stand firm and balance the rest. That's what a center is. You know, a seesaw has a levy on the bottom or a weight on the bottom that if two people of the same weight were sitting on there, they could like perfectly be parallel and line up. However, the importance is not what you're balancing, it's what are you standing on. Mm-hmm. And so at the root, foundationally, if God is the author and finisher of our faith, if we really believe he knows the end from the beginning, if we truly believe there is some purpose behind these super fast years and months that we're living right now, if we're going to blame it on living on purpose, then there's got to be things that he's doing on purpose. The things that you are pulled to and from, we often have little control of. Have you ever wanted to hold on to a person so bad, but it just seemed like they keep slipping through your fingers, and you know they toxic for you, You know that they are bad for you. I'm talking about
Mm.
every night, every day, whether you, and like other people close to you would know also that if you didn't hide it so well, if you didn't mask the chaos so well, if you didn't, you know, hide the fine print on the reality of your relationships. There's some people that are so close to you, you can't even tell them what somebody that you love is putting you through that you're in a relationship with, because you know that you're still hoping this person you're dealing with will be in your future. And you can't jeopardize right now telling your brother, your sister, your whoever what this person just did to you, because they wouldn't be happy for you on the day that you're planning on being happy. So it's like there's so many different details, and you've been at that place where you've tried everything to hold on to somebody, but it seems like you just can't. Often that is something that pulled on you that is being pulled away from you. And even though you cannot ignore the pulling of it, there's something more powerful, more aware that is pulling it away from you. You know how I know? Because I guarantee you that you cannot say that the relationships that were toxic that you've run into since your marriage have even could compare to the time that you gave to that one woman. The time that you spent, I don't care if it's a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, that ain't even half the time you gave to a woman that you believe was toxic. Not to your kids. Maybe it's spilled out in that area, but not in totality. Not before God, even though there was some toxic traits. You went to God, you need to get your daughter. But still, ultimately, there are still some things, something about her, you held on to her longer than you've held on to anybody that has shown you identical traits since. So you know what I call that? I call that improvement.
Mm-hmm.
There was pain. No matter how long it takes you to heal from it, no matter how long you carry it, even if you point back like a tattoo to your scars, the pain existed. I carry it with me, however, I carry it with me in a way that it might harm you or not. And that's growth with God.
All right.
Usually, my tattoos don't offend people, my scars don't hurt me no more. They still on my body, but they don't hurt me no more.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said it. Then I realized it was not as long. Now I was asking these questions while you was talking for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Did you cut him off because you was like, I never go through what this woman put me through, or did you, regardless if that wasn't where your heart was, you cut him off because you recognized you wasn't going through this again? It doesn't matter where your heart is. God knows what's on the inside, and He knows that He showed you what you did not want to be with.
And
And
that's
the fact is that anybody else who shows up, you didn't give that first one 90 days. You gave them 20 something years.
mm-hmm.
Now you're talking about 90 days. If you can't tell me, brother, that that's an improvement on your timeline, then you know what I'm saying?
I mean,
I
but
would
but
say
it's
that you're going to save yourself years of woes with that type of timeline. That's healthy, brother. That's
no,
healthy.
no, and I appreciate that. And it's but the it's very interesting how boundaries are set based off the pain that we deal with.
And they're better now than they were back then. It was the
Right.
boundaries you didn't have today that got you in what you got away from. But once God bring you out, who can judge you on the boundaries you got today if they were established on God rescuing you from something that you were in?
Right. But
These
it's,
boundaries might not even be your own. These boundaries might be something God gave to you brand new, and you can't ignore them.
you know, those boundaries come with experience, comes with knowledge, right? Like there are people who never gotten married, as an example, because they've read all the books, they've read all the do's and don'ts, and they know what to look for, and then they get married, and it's like boom, you know, everything's for the most part is pretty well because they got the knowledge beforehand. They went to all the therapy sessions. They did the premarital classes. You know what I'm saying? Like they did everything that they needed to or felt like they needed to be successful in their relationships. And then, you know, in our age, I'm 40, so 47, you know what I mean? And so it's like back in, I'm 46, and back in those days, like my parents never sat me down and was like, "Are you sure you want to get married?"
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They were like, "Oh, you want to marry that girl? You need to join the military. You join the military, you're gonna marry that girl. You love her, right? Yeah, I love her. I love her.
I mean, but keep in mind, what marriage have you heard about that you really got excited about? Oh, hold on, we're live. Well, I mean, I feel you, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
marriage.
you know what I mean? But
Have good times, good
here's the thing, though.
times, good
Like
times.
if my children would come up to me and say, "Hey, I want to get married," I'm sitting their tails down, and we having a nice conversation about what it entails, what to look for, what you need to have your boundaries set on. Like I'm going down the list.
Yeah.
You know
But
what I'm saying?
are you the type of father God is? To where, let me ask you this. What you just said. I'm sitting my kids down and I'm going to tell them this. How many times have you preferenced something you were going to do that way when it comes to your kids? Whether it comes to peer pressure, drugs, homework, health, girlfriends and boyfriends, the right crowd, the bad crowd, God and the devil, whatever you've told them, you've probably said that. Now, your kids are grown. My kids grown. I got some younger kids, but your kids grown, you know what I'm saying? They grown. So here it is, years later, you are saying this to your kids. Now, how many times have your sit downs resulted in exactly what you wanted?
30%.
Okay, you do better than most fathers.
30%.
Oh, I say about 20, 25. Okay, 30. All right, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a good, yeah. Hey, hang in
30%.
there. That's motivation. But most times, now let me ask you this. Have you ever disowned your kids?
No.
Right? So you probably are closer to the father that we got. God will speak his word.
I wanted to hug him real tight around the neck a couple of
Yeah,
times.
But did you though? It's a legitimate
I
feeling.
can neither confirm nor
Homer
deny.
Simpson. All right, Homer. Choking the kids. But either way, all that's true. But you never disown your kids. They still your kids, right? You just said, if my kids want to get married, they ain't married. But if my kids want, this is what you're planning for a future of kids that in the past have not always kept your word. But you're still giving your word. You have not loved them less. You've probably wanted to tell them more because of what they didn't listen to. A lot of people believe if you don't listen to God, he ain't gonna talk to you no more. What kind of parent is that? If your kids ain't listen, you usually talk more. You break it down for them. Maybe you ain't understanding, little Johnny. Maybe I gotta say it
Sometimes
in,
you
you
gotta
know
let
what I'm
them be, bro.
saying?
Sometimes you gotta just
Listen,
let them be.
maybe,
You know,
yeah, I know what I said, but I saw what you did after I said what I said. Maybe,
man,
maybe there was some other stuff I left out. Let me be more.
the
And
hardest
that's the kind
thing.
of God that we serve. When we go through things, when we don't always follow His word, He don't give us less. He give us more. A loving parent, when they see their child not following their ways, they get involved. But somehow, all over the world, parents are getting involved in their kids or feeling guilty for the lack of involvement. And God somehow that don't exist with him. He don't get involved. He give us even more word, and more word causes you not to spend 10, 5, 10, 15, 20 years with a person that's toxic, and only spend 5, 10, maybe 15 months with a person that's toxic.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, if my child showed that level of improvement after they had already failed, after they feel like they have, but me getting more involved caused them in a shorter period of time to wrap things up, I would tell them at the end of that journey, I know you're exhausted. I know it's been heavy on you, but rest, my child. You've learned. You're wiser. You're smarter. You're not crueler. You're wiser. Sometimes wisdom appears cruel when it's unapologetic, but wisdom is wisdom nonetheless when it comes from God. When you start realizing that what's pulling you is what it is, and God's going to be with you regardless of what you connect with, you'll accept what God starts to pull out of your life. And whether you hold on for dear life, God will still pull it out of your life. You won't be able to hold on to it. Some people are crying about who they couldn't hold on to, knowing that that was toxic for them. God pulled that out your life. He's like the lightning. I don't care what the gravity says. I'm going in the contrast. This thing is coming up off you. This ain't coming to you. This is coming up off of you. This is coming up out of you.
That's good. You know, and what's also so important to really understand, man, is really like the idea that I have to have some level of accountability in what it is that I'm doing, right? I remember sitting in, and having a therapy session one time, and the counselor asked me, "What is it that is causing you to be attracted to these type of females? Like, what is it about you?"
They're pretty, Doc. What do you want me to say, Doc? They're pretty. How can I know pretty women can be good, bad, evil, and all this different
Right.
shades?
I
I'm
mean,
just looking for a pretty one.
for sure, there's attraction that has a part to play,
Mm-hmm.
but like my preference, right?
Mm.
My preference is I love I appreciate women who are independent. I like the strong minded
Can
individuals.
I can I can I tell on you?
Sure.
Tell me if I'm lying. You like a woman that not only takes charge but can take care of you.
That's not true.
That's not true. Even if she has women and she's doing her thing, she still got to take care of you, right? Because if she's doing all this amazing stuff and making good money and taking care of the whatever y'all got going on, say y'all got just a crib, car, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Y'all day to day stuff, that's cool. But if she ain't taking care of you, that will outweigh whatever else she's taking care of.
For me, I,
Okay.
I I like to do the taking care of.
You like to take care of her.
Right.
But you like to be taken care of too. That's your love language.
My love language
Just
is
told on yourself.
no. My love language is word is my love language is not acts of service. That's
Okay.
acts of
Okay.
service.
Okay.
My love language falls more on the lines of words of affirmation and physical touch.
Like communication and touchy feely.
hmm
Okay.
I prefer somebody who knows how to control their tongue, right? Somebody who can somebody like I would choose that. That's
Yes,
but
sir.
that's
Yes,
just
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
so me personally, like when it came to that certain type of toxicity of a woman that
But you have expressed that you like a woman that can take care of, like you
I
felt
mean,
comfortable with somebody
but
managing the
who wouldn't
bills,
want that, right?
managing
Who would not
things.
want a woman to take care of for sure?
But you can do
So,
it. You can do that. That ain't make or break.
yeah. That's
Okay.
I've been with females who cook, and I've been with those who can't.
I got you.
Right.
I got you.
So
Okay. Okay. Flexible in that area. Okay.
yeah. What was key to my breakthrough?
Mm.
What was key to my breakthrough, family, was when I began to self-evaluate. When I began to look at myself and why am I? Because like the person that I spoke to was like, I have counseled many females,
Mm-hmm.
and the three that you are describing, and this counselor knew these. You know, she personally knew one person, and dealt with one other, and then they had no idea who the third person was. But based off of what I was sharing,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna. And one thing about me is I'm not gonna lie about stuff. Like if I have no issues taking accountability for anything that I do wrong.
I agree.
Zero issues.
I can
So
attest to that.
so
Amen.
I'm gonna keep it 100.
Mm-hmm.
But the counselor was like, though is like the three that you had described are some of the worst females that I've ever diagnosed, and you happen to find all three of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he told me.
I done found them too.
You
Yeah.
were able to you were able to
That's why we
find
so cool.
you was able to find all three. And
Yeah.
so I was like, so what is it about you?
Mm.
It has nothing to
But
do
I
with
mean,
your
there's only so much you can change about you. It's good.
maybe, but check this out, right?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. What I needed to where my breakthrough came from
Mm-hmm.
was understanding that I did not fully love myself the way that I should. That I was a type to set a boundary and then backtrack when the boundary was crossed.
Your own or somebody else's?
My boundary. Like,
Because it's one thing if you're going through every relationship and you're setting your own boundaries and theirs and y'all's, then you're responsible for all the boundaries. But most times in a relationship, you sit at the table and you put your boundaries up and they put theirs up too. So where does breaking their boundaries come in?
not even worried about their boundaries.
Because your boundaries are in light of their boundaries.
Right. My boundary is you will not talk to me this type of way.
And their boundary is
Whatever their boundary is. Right. Whatever their boundary is. But because I can't, because for this conversation, I can't focus on what their boundary is if I can't even hold my own boundary.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
if I set a boundary that you shall not disrespect me in this type of manner.
But if I uphold all my boundaries, but I don't uphold the boundaries that we set together when we made an agreement, a covenant, an arrangement, if it's just my boundaries and my boundaries alone, but you see how that's such a slippery slope into like this holier than now. Like I've kept all my boundaries, and the person's like, "Yeah, but you broke mine." You're like, "Yeah, but I kept all mine, and it was your fault that I broke yours." Like it leaves too much room for ambiguity.
No.
It's got to
It,
be two. If you're talking about a relationship, it takes two to make a covenant.
right.
Does
But
God come to you on His terms alone, or is there some part of the covenant that is yours?
I mean, a covenant
That's an
agreement,
agreement. That's an arrangement. That boundaries are involved. All those things are in a covenant. All these things are in a covenant.
and I hear what you're saying, but when it comes to loving yourself first,
Mm-hmm.
there are certain things that you have to set beforehand that you tell said person. These are the things that are deal breakers.
And they tell you some things too, right?
For sure, right? But when you're in a relationship and you start feeling invested, whatever the case is, and then said person breaks or yeah, just walks past those boundaries.
Then that makes it. Is there some part of the agreement that says if you break mine, I get to break yours, and it's
No,
okay? Is
but
there some type of
it's
immunity if
that's
somebody
under
crosses and breaks my boundary
that's
that
under the
now I can
assumption
do whatever I want?
that you're breaking theirs.
Sometimes people do emotionally, maybe not their character, but sometimes in a fit of emotion, sometimes people will go get some tit for tat.
Right. So, but here's my story.
Okay.
When I started loving myself,
Mm-hmm.
and when somebody started crossing those boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
I believed them who they were the first time,
Mm-hmm.
and I shut it down right then and there.
Yeah, but I can say this to you as a close friend of yours, you've become a very a much better negotiator. Your agreements and covenants and arrangements are much more clarified these days. Like you said, you know what I mean? And I'm not bringing up because I can tell you this, you could tell all my secrets. So I'm not telling secrets. I'm just telling about what we've testified before.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes those first marriages or whatever can be built on who knows what, depending on when they happened and how young you were. And a lot of times, what happens in our youth, we carry it with us in our older age. Somebody can harm you as a child, as a young person, as a person that is a young adult going into the world for the first time. And a person can still scar you at that last little moment before 21, whatever. That'll tack on to your childhood too, and everybody becomes a mirror image. Either they're just like her or they're different. And if anything like them is like her, they're not different. Or this guy, my father, who did this to me, or my cousin, my boyfriend, they did this, and any man who is going to be different can't do nothing like them. If you do anything, you just raised your voice. Now, a person can be petty and have their own biases. They know this person that raised their voice is nothing like the person that just did them wrong back in the day. But all of a sudden, you raise your voice and they just use that. Now, we got to deal with insecurities and the details that make a relationship good or bad. But going back and forth to a toxic situation, if I were you, listening, if I was a fly on the wall when the counselor asked you about your situations and your response was, why do I keep picking and choosing this? Your solution was love yourself, and then your standards for what you will allow yourself to have covenants with, agreements with, will change. And it did. What God would do for one doesn't mean he'll do it for everyone. God is no respecter of person. So as we grow in love, as we grow in experience, it's no respect in women. Who will show you what's real today is better than who thought they could yesterday. Loving yourself did make a difference, but the difference was in what you allowed yourself to come into agreement with. And ultimately, that's what it leads to. Is not what you're drawn to. It's the constitution within yourself that has to change what you allow yourself not just to be drawn to, but to hold on to. Because if I pray, God, take everything out of my life that ain't right, and I reach out and I try to grab everything around me, I have to trust that whatever I couldn't hold on to was an answer to my prayer.
Right.
And God pulled it out of my hands. But whatever remains, the remnant, like God says about his people, whatever remains, that's what's good enough for me, and I'll accept that. Even if I got dreams of a bouquet of roses, but I end up after the windstorm with one rose, that was the rose for me. And that process is not an indictment on how often you choose someone toxic or run into someone who's toxic. That could be by your area code. According to today, it's in the water we drink, and all the let the media tell it. You know what I'm saying? It's all the artificial stuff that goes into our DNA, changing us, and what's happening, and blah 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 blah, masculinity and emasculation and all that other stuff. But at the end of the day, your God's pruning process on you caused you to gravitate to what is for you. And to the point where you were willing to pull to be the gravity. I'll pull what I want in my life. But when you start loving yourself the way God teaches you, you start trusting that He'll bring what's in your life. And so the change becomes you're not the earth, the center of it, and gravitational things pull to you, but that God is. And if you're on God's green earth, then whatever comes to you is what He wants. And so you experience better blessings, healthier relationships. Now, that may take you running through a couple knuckleheads out there. You know what I'm saying? Male and female. I'm a man, so I'm talking about female, but me and Ulysses to talk about a lot of knuckleheads that we ran through out there. But to be able to recognize something different, there may be traits of toxic things, but what remains, God won't allow to be toxic. And if you, like in your past, had an argument with a girl that you're dealing with today, but the outcome is not the same as the girl that you dealt with before, then God is moving. If a person gets accusatory, gets insecure for a minute, and starts accusing you of some bull crap based off the stories that you told them and all this other stuff, and they love you to death, but they just trying to hurt you right now with the things that you told them. You didn't have to tell them, Samson. You didn't have to tell them your hair was your kryptonite, but you did. That doesn't mean that you won't make it through the choice of telling you your weakness. It just means that you did. You didn't have to, but you did. So if they use what you pointed as weakness in yourself against you, but it's just for a moment, and it's not like the last person did and they hung it over your head forever. They was just really trying to hurt you, and you know this person, and you know they really was just trying to hurt you. Forgive that. That does not make them like the rest. You are not being pulled towards the same thing God has pulled you away from. The spirit of familiarity is attacking you hard, trying to make any and everything look like what it was. when God told you your tomorrow was going to be different, your days was going to be new. He was going to do great things in your life. But the devil and the enemy is trying his best to say, this is familiar, same old, same old, same old. Count the years that you're comparing the moment with. It's a moment. How many moments were in those years that you gave somebody else? And if you gave them 1,000 moments, but you only giving this person one or two, it's not fair to them. You have no concept of time. You need to get a grip on reality. You need to let what's natural happen. God has changed most of us. That doesn't mean that just because I was born in Germany. I saw a tree in Germany. I didn't come to America and be like, what are these things growing up from the ground? Oh my God. They had pine trees in Germany. They had pine trees in America. That doesn't mean that I'm in the same place I was. Sometimes we got to recognize what God has pulled us to, how much he's pulled us through, how many people he's pulled out of our lives, and know that we can trust the pulling of God even when we can't trust our own, and know that what he's pulling us to is closer to him. Anybody that gets close to us, the longer we live, got to be closer to him. Or they ain't gonna make it. They ain't gonna have the same amount of time. It's not about how many toxic people you run into. It's about how many toxic people you gonna give the time you gave the last one. And if that time is shorter, then I wish I could be there with you on that moment when you like, that's it, it's over. I wish I could just pop up in your life like an angel or something and just pat you on the back and be like, woo, you made that in record time. Boy, you used to run that 2 mile in 20 minutes. Now you at 16 minutes. You make it, you got more stride in your foot. You're running lighter. You've been at this a little while. You done exercised, I see. Everybody can't hang with you, huh? Good job. You got a little ways to go. I know you want to be better than this, but your drive, your push is evident.
Amen. Amen, amen, and amen. But listen, y'all.
My bad. Did I go into a whole look? My fault, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Let me break up the titsness. Come on, brother. Do
Oh
your
no, you
thing.
good,
All
you
right,
good.
shake it up. Shake it up. Shake it up. Got a little deep. But that's what the firm is all about.
Yeah,
If
nothing off.
anybody had anything to say, y'all know y'all could have said it in the comment section. I can say it live while we on so we can talk more. Even if you having thoughts while we talking, you can chime in anytime.
Anytime, anytime. But with that being said, you guys, we know it's getting late in the East Coast, going on 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I know people got to go to work tomorrow. They gotta take care of responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful stuff. So we won't hold you guys up much longer after that. But we want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to another edition of the Firm Pressure Podcast. Well, tonight's conversation was a good one.
Man,
It
hope
was
it
a
encouraged somebody tonight. I slipped into like this encouraging mode. But I just sometimes you need somebody who ain't thinking like the people in your circle to make you think a little bit different so you can be different in your circle. And that compassion is like we really are winning, y'all. And the devil's trying so hard to paint the picture that we're not. But you got to see through his eyes. You got to see through the eyes of victory, and accept who you are today. You know what I'm saying? Accept you. You are all right today. However you doing things is different. Maybe uncomfortable, but where you are today, it's not where you was.
Amen.
Not where you was.
Beautiful. Beautifully said. Beautifully said, sir. Beautifully said, sir. So look out for 2025 to be. We got some things coming up that we will be discussing. Some beautiful things coming in for 2025.
2020.
Already.
What's happening in 2025?
Hey,
We'll talk about it later.
we'll talk about it later and announce it to the people shortly.
Announce it to the people as soon as possible. What do y'all want to see from us in 2025? Y'all got any ideas? I mean, we got some too, but what y'all want to see, you know what I'm saying, in 2025? Because the year is coming. It's coming soon. All right. It's right around the corner. So we're gonna have this powder keg of celebration, holidays, and all that good stuff and everything. And then when the smoke clear, people gonna be looking for answers. They're gonna be looking for some stability. Ulysses, man, you plan on being there for the people in 2025?
Bro, number one, we definitely got to do a happy birthday to the F.I.R.M Pressure Podcast for 5 years online.
Is it our anniversary yet?
January 1st.
Okay. Oh yeah. Oh, 5 years.
Actually, no, December 31st. Actually,
will be 5 years.
5 years, bro. 5 years.
Okay, and we got the paperwork. You know what I'm saying? Next thing gonna be the bank account. Then we're gonna come with the merchandise. Then we're gonna go. Y'all have no idea. If it was up to us, we'd be way somewhere different that God didn't plan for us. Okay, and against all odds, against every effort, we are on his timeline. And guess what? He knows that we accept that because it'll be good enough when it's good enough for him. For not only for the show, but for you and all of y'all that tune in. You know what I'm saying? So 2025, man, we're gonna have some new shows. We're gonna hit you a little more often, I think, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You'll hear from us a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know Ulysses be coming with the messages, but he also got some views on the takes in the moment of what's going on, what he experiencing. You know what I mean? And be a man of the people. You know what I mean? Y'all want somebody to talk to. I know there's some things going on week to week or month to month that y'all just like, man, where are Ulysses at? Where is he at? So we can talk about this. I wonder what he think about what's going on. You know what I'm saying? What's his take on this? And then once we do our personal takes, then I'm gonna tap in and ask him, well, what's God's take on it? Ooh. How many people can you get both sides of? You know what I mean? Some honesty and then some, nevertheless, not my will, but thy will be told to you. You know what I mean? That's 2025 for y'all. I'm gonna be on here, you know what I'm saying, more often. We're gonna do our show. You know what I mean? We're gonna get together and I'm gonna be visible. But y'all know I'm growing out my locks. I'm going through the ugly phase right now. So, I'm going to describe it as technical difficulties. And, my laptop has got a virus and things like that. And, the election just happened. And, news is crazy. Politics and stuff. So, yeah. I'm going to disguise that as whatever. But 2025, man, I got a lot to say, too, man. I've been out here secretly winning. So, I don't got no story from no defeated type of situation. I got the best kept secret that I've been holding for a long time that, I got a good reason for holding. And none of y'all can judge me because you wasn't there when God showed me. So I don't care what you can say, but Ulysses wasn't there either. I ain't saying he wasn't in my life, but physically, I saw who was around me that day. But anyways, I got a lot more to say before I go. You know what I'm saying? So, and we believe that a lot of you guys have a lot more to say. You may not be able to host a show, but you can definitely comment live. You can get on this show and share your views and points, and other people can see it and comment along with you. And you can have those discussions that other platforms won't allow you to have, or you may not want to have on your personal platform. But right here on the F.I.R.M, 365, 24/7, or the F.I.R.M 365, this pressure podcast will be available for you. Ulysses, man, that's all I got to say, bro. We can let them go when you ready to let them go.
All right, y'all. We love y'all. Have a great night. Y'all enjoy the rest of your week. And remember, stay prayed up. Make sure you get that daily Jesus vitamin in your system. We love y'all. Appreciate y'all. See you on the flip side.
That will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
First.
What up, world? It's the F.I.R.M.
Let's get it. Welcome to the F.I.R.M.
Oh, it's about to go down.
Set your schedule. Eastern Standard Time.
Saturday Nights Live for a time that's one of a kind.
Woo-wee. There's nothing off the table. No trolling. We go from politics to religion to relationships to whether or not you like crunchy or soft taco.
Woo! Forget about a love language. What about your love level?
Oh man, we excited for this one.
On all social media platforms.
So make sure you follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok.
Fellowship in a righteous manner. That's the banner.
With your hosts, FLAVIUS and ULISES. We rolling Eastern Standard Time.